Welcome back to another episode of Just Sayin. I'm your host, Mara, and today I'm freaking out because I have the Amberella in the studio with me, and we're just going to chat all of the things that are happening. Like, have you ever seen The Office when Michael Scott is like, everyone stay calm, it's happening, it's happening. Yeah. I'm like, that is how I feel. Like, you're like, oh, it's happening. I'm like, fuck yes, let's go. So this is Amberella. Amber is your real name. Amberella is her artist name. And you are a street artist, a content creator, a kundalini yoga. I don't know, are there levels to that? Like, because I would say you're a yoga master.
I'm not a master.
Like, I went yesterday and it was giving master vibes. Literally.
But I am a teacher.
Okay, and so what else? What else? Like, what are you doing lately?
I didn't know I was considered a content creator. So
I mean, I think that you are. The video you made yesterday was pretty fire of your thing. I was like, how'd she whip that up that fast?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I love saying yes. Street artist, embodied wild woman.
Love it.
Kundalini yogi. Yeah.
All of the things.
All the things.
I know, you're just like a bright light. And I was like,
you.
And then yesterday so she had a Kundalini yoga session here at Lumos.
Yeah. In Philly.
Yes, yoga studio. It was so cute. It smelled so good. I was like, it smells so good in here. They're like, it was Amber. I was like, it's amazing.
It was all my witch stuff.
Oh my God, it was so good. And then you had like the little cards, and right now we're recording. Yesterday was the new moon in Leo, and it's like a very heart-centered time. We got like Lionsgate coming up. And,
see?
all like this lioness energy, and then you were explaining also. You were explaining also like your Kundalini name.
Yeah, so my Kundalini, the name that I was given when I finished my training, is Jyotajit Kaur, which means Princess Lioness of Radiant Light. And so that is so cool because I was getting big cat tattoos all over my left leg.
What are the odds of that? That's like the shit I live for.
Cool.
I'm like,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
They knew.
For last night, what was amazing is that we did a self-healing and blessing.
Yes.
And then a healing and blessing for the city and the world.
I know. And I feel like, too, when you're, like, doing it for yourself, you are doing it for the collective.
Yeah, totally.
Like, and it was just, like, so nice. And there were so many women in there. And everyone was just, like, I love those spaces because I feel like no one gives a shit. Like, that was the first time that I was, like, moving like that. Mm-hmm. And I was like, is anyone looking? Like, I brought my girlfriend Lindsay, and it was like only our second time like on a girl date. Yeah. And like she went behind me. I was like, oh my God. Because I'm like, I'm going to really shake in here. Yeah. If she's telling me to do it, I'm going to do what she said.
I loved it.
It was so fun.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, and what I love about Kundalini is it's such an inward practice. So I kept inviting you, like, keep your eyes closed down. And it's like,
because it's watching. Like, exactly. And I loved when you were like, I'm holding, like, if you guys don't see me doing it, like, I'm holding the fort down for us. I was like, very important because it's like, I think that especially like in this space of wellness and like, you know, vibes, I think there's like a lot, like, it's like hard to understand the concept of holding space, but like, it really is such a thing. If that makes sense, you know? And it's like, me and a couple of my mentors talk about that often, and we're just like, they'll be like, Mar, you're holding space. And I'm like, I'm literally existing. And they're like, that's a lot. Like, I'm like, are you sure? And it's like so true though. But like, everything was so nice in there. And it was a lot of fun. So do you do that often in San Diego too? Or because you don't live here?
I'll do workshops and I do Kundalini yoga pop-ups when I travel with art or anywhere I travel. So I just hosted a class in Denver, which was awesome, and I did a workshop in San Diego.
That's like the coolest thing is like you get to go there, pop up some art. So it's like you're leaving your print and then you're literally putting your energy there too. I'm just like, This is so cool. Like, I got this hat in 2017. Like, I literally was looking on my website or my email last night. I was like, when did I order this? And I'm like, yeah, you were the first, like, woman that I ever saw, like, make that an option. And it's like, I have a brand too. It's called Fairy Garden. It's just like about, you know, you want what you want because you could have it. Like, your dreams are your dreams because you could live them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, duh, Mara, you can make art and put it places, but it's like, you know, I think a lot of times we have like those limiting beliefs kind of that's like, I'm not, like, I can't draw, but like it's 2024, we can print or we can use Photoshop or like, and you can get your message out there without it being a thing. And it's like you have all of these options, but it's like a matter of just like being okay to step into that space.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is like the coolest part. My mom's like, Mara, that's illegal. I'm like, it's a good message, okay? If they want me to take it down, I'll take it down. Yeah. But like, I'm not saying anything bad. Like, I'm like, we are trying to push the collective forward and like open minds and open hearts and like connect people.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, it's fine, okay? And so now you're able to do that with energy work too.
Yeah.
That's insane. Yeah. So when did you know like you wanted to kind of shift?
So I've been practicing kundalini yoga since about 2019, and I always felt the energetic effects of it. Oh. But I didn't really understand what I was doing. And then I think about a year before I did kundalini yoga teacher training, I was working one-on-one with one of my spiritual teachers, and I kept claiming something's coming, something else wants to come through, and I don't know what it is.
Amazing.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
But I really claimed that, and she had me every morning say to the universe, use me, show me. I don't know what it is, but show me.
Right.
I'm open
to
receiving what it is.
Yeah.
And then I kind of just let it go in that way, but there was a kundalini yoga teacher training opportunity in San Diego, and I just did it to deepen my practice because I didn't understand what I was chanting, what I was doing. It just felt good. And so I dove into the training, and it was a lot of work. It was so intense, and it was so, I don't know, it shifted a lot in my life. And when I finished, I kept saying to my gurus, I don't want to teach kundalini. I'm an artist.
Right.
I am I have a career.
Right.
And they were just like, okay. And and the main guru also, I think, was a bit skeptical of me because I'm a wild child and I'm showing up to class in eccentric ways.
Yeah.
But she noticed that I was very disciplined. Yeah. And I was a deep practitioner. Right. And I was serious about what we were doing. Right. And I think that in the end, I got asked to teach a kundalini yoga class at a studio in San Diego. And I'm like, okay. And once I started creating the class, the playlist, what pranayama we were going to do.
Curating the whole thing.
I felt so creatively nourished and enlivened, and then I just had a flood of ideas of, I should make a collectible mantra card, and it all feels like the texture of my artwork and the texture of me. Yeah. So it's just another expression of my artful heart. Yes. And it's just, it is beautiful because it's another way that my artistry is healing others and helping others, and it's awesome. I'm
it's
excited.
Like showing like possibility, and like that's what I'm saying too. It's like artists, like what we claim for ourselves, like you were talking about even earlier, like you're like, I can share, what are you calling them, like acclamations, or like when you're claiming?
Claiming. I do claimings every month.
Okay, so even like that kind of stuff, it's like we're kind of like wiring our brain about what we believe about ourselves. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's crazy because it's like you can stick to the artist like label, and it's like what society told you an artist is, and it's like, okay, yes, but no, because this is my artistry, and it's like art, it can be anything.
It's our magic, and there's endless possibilities,
literally,
and if we're open to that, wow.
Exactly. And it's just like leaning into that, and also just my thing right now is I just keep being like, stop looking around, like it doesn't matter, like what other people are doing or starting or creating. It's like it doesn't matter because it's just expressing yourself and knowing what you're sharing is your truth, and it's like a light thing. Like it's like you're sharing your light. You just want to spread like light and love, basically. It's like it sounds corny.
Sounds really
I know,
cheesy,
but it's so true. It's like no, that's just like who you actually are too, you know?
Yeah.
I can imagine also like living in California, being near the beach and stuff, like that helps you. Yeah.
It's awesome. I mean, the reason that I live there part-time is the weather.
Yep.
And I'm so sensitive energetically, and it just really, it helps my energetic and spiritual body.
Yeah.
Nourishes those, and then my creative community artistic bodies here.
Yeah.
So it's both. So
right.
That's why I come back.
Having
and
the
forth
both,
and,
it's like that's the dream.
Yeah, and then I really do consider San Diego to be my spiritual laboratory as far as like creating different kundalini offerings and practicing there, and I'm really able to stick with my meditation.
Yeah, like that's where you do your work.
Practice. Yeah, it's, you know, the city is like so alive.
I know. And
it's hard for me to not be a participant of the aliveness 24/7 when I'm here.
Yeah, I feel that. No, I feel that. It's like it's tempting, and
so
it's like
fun.
you can just pop out and pop back in. But that's like when I lived in California too. It was like very hermit mode, and like I would just be like in my in my laboratory, but like it's like all my gay jolly goodness, like that's where like the meat comes from, and that's where I get like all my little lovey ideas and things like that. So I totally get that.
Should I share some of my claimings for August?
Yes,
or I'll say for the month.
Yes.
In case,
right. I told her that I have a tendency to be all over the place with the schedule, but yes.
So this is an example of something that I do every month that I've been doing for many years. And it's just the whole idea of even like the Joe Dispenza type of idea of living.
Amber, don't. I'm going to get wet. Like, I love Joe.
Like, so hot.
Literally.
But living in the energy of like what we are becoming, we're already that. And so really claiming that and living it and feeling it to be true.
Right.
And it's just, wow, it's such big magic. So I'll read some from August, but my queen, and this has been her for many years, she's Queen of Radiant Light. And I'm Queen of Light. And so that's always really beautiful. But a new one that I tapped into, Empress of the Tantric Tiger, and I've never played with Empress energy, and it feels like she has arrived, and I'm so excited.
I feel like these pants are giving Empress,
and my nails are like
like more
nails.
Like all the extra, the razzle dazzle. Yeah,
but I love you. So some examples of some of the claimings, just because people typically get excited and inspired by these. Like my friends will be like, "Oh, what are your claimings this month?" So I'll share some of them. She whose deep desires are magnetic. She who is a stand for clarity, truth, and consciousness. She who honors her intuition fiercely. She whose life enlivens her. She who excites and lights the world. There's so many.
I love it. No, because it's good to remind yourself too. And like, so what are those like on your background, or like, do you look at them every day, or like, how do you keep remembering?
It's more of like, the thing is, I really feel these things more than what they say. Yeah. So when I write these every month, it's almost like I feel them so deeply. They're just coming out. Yeah. And it's interesting that I don't really read this that much throughout the month. Amazing. It's like when I claim it, I feel it so deeply. Yeah. And it's just coming out, and I'm like, wow, that's exciting. Like, so these are some of the claimings. She whose innocence delights. She whose deep desires are magnetic. The dog loves it. She who excites and lights the world. She who is wide open love to serve consciousness, inspire, and heal the world. She who exudes cosmic resonance. You can go on and on forever, but it's more about just like feeling that and the energy of it. Yeah. And it's not something like where I know a lot of people do manifestation work and they write these things and they're like, okay, I have to read my thing every day.
Right.
But they're not feeling it. And
I feel that.
It's like you could just claim it
Yeah.
and feel it and remember the feeling of that energy every day.
Yeah.
You don't need to memorize or read the thing.
Right.
And they can act as a reminder, but I feel the most excitement when I claim them because I know it to be true.
Right. You're like, this is my truth.
Yeah. But it's really fun over the years using this in relationship and seeing it come to fruition. Like not sharing with your partner and then seeing what happens. So like a previous example would be she who must be spanked into oblivion.
Uh-huh.
And I remember that happened all month. And I'm like, I am a witch.
I love that.
Like, I was getting spankings left and right. Like it was like
crying.
But it's so powerful.
Yes.
Like, when you embody and
you're like, I said it, so it's
really
true.
Believe that.
Yeah. And like that's it.
Yeah.
I do it in the morning. Like I'll just write. I have like a little notebook. It's like this big, and I won't let my feet touch the ground unless I grab the journal.
Oh, I love that.
And I'll just do it like I do like a personal inventory because we be forgetting sometimes.
Totally.
You know what I mean? And it's just like no, like I am love, like I am joy, and it's like the dumb little ones that I'm like no, that really is like my truth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So sometimes they're like the same, but then other times I'll like throw in new ones because I'm like. I could use more of that actually right now. So I just throw that in the mix too. But it's like, that's a cool idea because like you're really like giving it like a story too at the same time. Like your words are not just I am, da da da. It's like she is. And it's like, it's sometimes easier, I think, to believe in some, not to say something that's not us, but like you're real she. Like you're like, when you're on and you're like in your alignment, her.
Yeah.
Like you're like, I know I'm her and she is me.
Totally.
But sometimes I'm not in that, space.
I think another cool piece to like the claiming work that I do or like my magic, I don't even know what to call it. I've been doing it for many years. I have this like silver box and every month I'll write these on the paper and put it in.
Yes.
And then I'll take them out a month later and I'm like, wow, that happened. And so then they get more and more detailed every month.
Yes.
And I'm
because
like,
you can like fine tune things.
Yeah.
But you're like then, more of this, less of that. Yes.
But then this all translates into my art.
Right.
My art is claiming. So I brought,
Here, sorry.
Just as an example, like this entire series was, these are things that I wanted and I was very serious about. And so I'm like, I'm putting it on the wall.
Yeah.
Like
like I got some shit to say and you're going to see it. Yeah, exactly.
And like, it's between me and the universe, but I'm like literally putting it on the wall.
Yeah.
And so I did this, it was all of my deep desires surrounding partnership. So wanted depth and devotion.
Yes.
Wanted hot monogamy.
Hot monogamy was my favorite one.
So like, but it's just, my art is an expression of my heart.
Yes.
In every way. Mm-hmm. Whether it's street art on the wall,
clothing,
kundalini.
Yes.
It's my heart.
I know. Well, and it's like cool that you found the kundalini for that. Like for the expression of your heart. I feel like, because sometimes it's hard. Like, that's how, like, I'm like, I feel you so deeply because I'm like, I know what you're saying. It's like, I want to tell you something. It's going to help you. Like, and I want to share it, and it's like, how? And it's like, art is one thing, but it's like, I want you to feel it too. And it's like, art, when it's on the wall and things, not everyone is like tapped in.
It's a moment in time.
Yeah, not everyone is like, wow, like, that really is saying like some shit that we should really look at for a second and like read out loud and like think about, So like you being able to hold space with the kundalini, that's fire too. It's funny because like I was thinking, I'm like, I don't even know what kundalini means.
Yeah. Should I share that too?
Yes, I would love that because why do I think it's sex?
Well, kundalini is the creative sexual energy that lies dormant at the base of the spine.
Okay.
And through kundalini yoga, you love kundalini.
Oh my God.
He's like worked up.
Literally, he's like, tell us more.
Through kundalini yoga, we can awaken that energy and move it up our chakras, our center column.
Right.
And we can manage that energy through our breath.
Right.
And our movement.
Yes.
And so that's why you're thinking it's our creative sexual energy.
Because I was thinking too, I'm like, I feel like I'm like, okay, when I think of kundalini off rip, I think of sex. Like kundalini sex, whatever.
Yeah.
But then I was like, I think what it really is like your energy.
Yeah, it's our energy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, and then that's why kundalini in sex, like if you are, because like obviously we're in a day and age where you can just be having sex, or you could like really be making something with that energy. Yeah, exactly.
It's a big deal.
It's
really, really sacred.
Yeah.
That is the piece, is that our sexual energy is the most sacred.
I'm like, tell me more. Like, I'm like, you can get so brainwashed so easily to be like, oh, it's fine. I literally always walk the line. Like, where I'll be like, okay, sex, like, no, and not because of like anything other than like the actual power that it has to create.
Right.
And then I'll be like, no, well, yeah, I can at the same time because like I'm a woman, hear me roar. And like, if I want to, I should be able to. But it's like, where is the truth? I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, it's okay. You just want to be an artist.
I'm like, oh my gosh. I know. Sometimes I'm like, I want to put Zeus on a wall. Like, I'm like, this is the dog that I got in me.
Yeah.
And he's just like.
So I think what's really amazing about sharing sexual energy with another person is like, yes, like with our kundalini energy, our sexual energy, we are moving it through our body in certain ways. And then just think about coming together with another person's energy and both being tapped into that and your energy bodies and knowing how to handle your energy bodies. And then the other piece of it is keeping our energetic bodies clean.
Right.
Like, is a really big deal. And what I mean by deal is like, what an incredible opportunity to be tapped in to all of consciousness, all of creation,
right? All
of whatever you want to call it. It doesn't even have to be God, but to get to have that,
right,
you need to do a lot of
work.
I don't like the word work, but I'm gonna say it.
It's like WERK.
But
okay?
It's like an honor.
Yes,
it's a sacred honor to care for our bodies as temples. And I mean, we get to stay tuned in and tapped in and turned on and in our magic. And wow, we are constant creators then.
Yep.
So cool.
I know. I'm like, I'll literally like, I'll forget. And then I'll remember it's like tuned in, turned on, tapped in, turned on.
Yeah.
What is that? Is that Abraham Hicks? Like, do you ever listen?
I don't know, probably, but I love her.
Me too. I'm like, Joe, yes.
I think
Abraham
everyone,
Hicks, yes.
It's like a common thing to say now.
Yes,
but,
yeah.
Yeah.
Just like being in that space. I know.
Yeah.
I'm like, sometimes I'm like, it's fine, like, whatever. And then I'm like, no, Mar, like, not whatever. Because then it'll be like, crazy stuff starts happening when you're messing around with like the wrong people.
Well, yeah. And we're taking on other people's energy.
Yeah.
And
it's just not the vibe.
Yeah.
It is for the 10 minutes that it's happening. Okay? But then it's not at the same time.
Like,
I'm like
calling up Reagan for
literally, and then I'm getting bitched out. Yeah, literally. Reagan was so excited. Shout out to Reagan. She's
Reagan,
our
love you.
tarot queen and
our Reiki master. She's
literally
my Reiki master.
I was gonna say, I feel like she's like different things for different people because I love when we talk. She teaches me so much, like astrologically.
Yeah.
And then tarot is second, but like I've done Reiki with her too, and I'm just like, sometimes you just need, like, I'll just be like, call Reagan. I don't know what you need, but you need to just call her, and then she'll tell you what you need.
She knows
like,
what to do.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Wait, what is your sign? Have you ever?
I'm Capricorn.
Okay.
I'm I'm Capricorn, Gemini.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I actually don't know that much about astrology. I just
Amazing.
know that I know Capricorn are down to business and they're the best at everything. But no, they're like, they are like
about your business.
Yeah, they're about their business, and I'm wild and like flowy too, which is not Capricorn, so I guess that's the Gemini.
Right.
I'm an artist, and I'm like wild and free and
yeah.
all those
Well, you get a little bit of both. You're like grounded and you're outside at the same time.
What about you?
When you said eccentric earlier, I always say like I'm like the eccentric auntie. Like that's my vibes. Is because it's like a Pisces sun, Aquarius moon, and
cool.
a Cancer rising.
Whoa, cool.
It's a lot of crying.
Know a little bit about me too.
I'm like, I be crying. I know.
Yay.
Literally, I'm like, one thing about me, there will be tears. Okay. Finally, I'm like over. I feel like always we're like taught like don't like, oh, I'm proud of you for not crying. Like, don't be proud of me for not crying. If I have to cry, I should cry.
It's beautiful.
Literally.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break
good.
and then we'll be back. Okay, so yesterday in your class we were just chatting about breath, and you said about how our breath is so valuable. I feel like we always forget that the most valuable things that we have are the things that have been given to us for free.
Yeah, and
it's like our time, our energy, our breath. Yeah, and like you can literally heal yourself from just breathing.
Yeah.
That's like if I have a headache, like I'll literally put like sound like healing on and just breathe. Yeah. Like for like set a timer for like 35 minutes and my friends are like, "Did you take any medicine?" I'm like, "No." I listened to this 570 hertz for 30 minutes and breathed. And they're like, "What?" I'm like, "It worked."
Yeah.
I don't know. We were just talking about breath, but so okay, we're talking also a little bit over the break about like just the divine feminine in general, and I feel like you exude that energy very much, and so I can imagine that the men that are attracted to you are like of an equal vibration. Like I am not at the divine light goddess yet. That's getting that. I still get a lot of moths. So I'm like, what do you have to say?
The light attracts the dark.
I know. No, it does.
Okay, so what I would
it definitely does.
Is you claiming your light, and when those moths come, every time that you don't accept that, you are claiming your light even more to the universe and keeping the energy and space open for something so amazing to come. And it's interesting because, I just remember like dating before and having the experiences of using dating as a practice. And so my practice was that if I knew that the man I went on a date with didn't align for whatever reason, I knew my non-negotiables that I wanted in a relationship. I knew my deep desires. I knew what would be a deal breaker. Mm-hmm. And if any of that came through, the promise to myself was that I would close off, deep bow that date or whatever immediately. And it didn't matter how hot, how fun, he could just be a friend. No, because that's kind of bullshit. Not always, but if there is that, like, he's so hot and fun, like if there's certain things on the list that like he is, well, then you're not being totally clean and clear with the universe and yourself by being like, well, like, it's hard to be single. It's so lonely.
I know.
And you want to share, you want to co-create. And that was my practice. And it was so amazing. And my teacher at the time had just introduced this other practice to me of how can you see the king in every man? And so what I did was every time I had a date, I was like, how can I see the king in this man and show that to him, which most men don't get to feel that from women.
Facts.
And so I would go on the date. I would light this person up. I'm like, this date could literally be just me gifting this man the feeling of seeing his king. So bringing that.
I'm going to cry. I love that.
Bringing that as like a deep devotion, because I was healing my relationship with the masculine at the time. This is many years ago. And that was my practice, because I had experiences with men that I was afraid, or like not looking at them in the most amazing way. And that was my practice for a year. Even with the deli man, like literally with every man, like how can I make him know, like, thank you for taking care. I still do it. Oh my gosh, the deli man, thank you for taking care of me and my turkey sandwich.
Right,
like,
right.
I love you.
Right, because
like,
they might not ever.
They've not been praised. Thank you for slicing my meat perfectly. Like, you should get a freaking trophy. Men don't get that. So that was part of the practice. And then the other piece was, okay, if I'm leaving this date knowing we're not aligned. He doesn't, like, one time I met this guy, he was really cool. We were aligned in a lot of ways. And he's like, no, I do coke once in a while. And I'm like, my light being was like, ugh. Like, no fucking way. Like, I'm not okay with that. And that's okay. And it's okay if some people are okay with that, but I'm not. Like, that doesn't match my vibe. And so at the end of the date, you know, I'm like,
stop yelling.
Okay,
because you're not wrong at all. No. I'm like, I'll be like, it's fine. And it's like, no.
You know. And so then the practice was, if I knew, the practice was 1 to 2 praises of them, and then clean and clear, closing it out. Hey, I loved how you went and got me sour cream when we got tacos today. It lit me up. I loved that you thought to take us on this hike to this valley I've never been to. It was amazing. Thank you so much. Also, I know that I couldn't be with someone that did coke once in a while, so I wanted to, you know, honor the day that we had together and let you know, and, you know, close the container. And deep bows. Well, the way that the man responded to whatever I text was the level of his consciousness too. So that was just wildly interesting, and it was reaffirming to my practice. Some were like, that guy actually, I remember, was really, he was like, wow, like, thank you so much for this beautiful message. That makes sense. And he's like, good luck, you know, and then it's clean and clear and it's done. And then your energy is still open to receive your king. Like, if I entertained any of that, it's not. I'm sending a message like, well, okay, like, I'd put up with that.
Right.
But no. So that was my practice. For the king practice was I still practice that.
I think that's just
shifted everything.
Nice.
It's shifted. I love men.
Like, I love that. I always say that because I'm like, some of my girlfriends, I can't have conversations with them about things because it's such man hate, and like, I just can't get with it.
We love them.
At the same time, I'm like, I understand, but like, you're complaining about this group of men, but like, you entertain that group of men. Like, so, and it's just like the law of polarity. So it's like, for all of the shit men that exist, there has to be iconic men somewhere.
There's so many good men in this world.
Yeah. I love it that you're saying that.
Yeah.
I'm like, because it's so hard too. And like, I think I'm literally such a crybaby. I already told you this in the episode.
I love it. I'm bring on the crying.
I'm like, because it's hard, like, seeing men for like what they could be. Because it's like, you know what, even though like I haven't maybe experienced it, or like I've been hurt by men, it's like, I know that this can't be the only option. So it's like, just beautiful. That's like a beautiful way to like explore that idea, kind of, and just be like keep reminding yourself too. And like, even like finding the king, you could find the king in anyone. Like, even us today, like, you can find the king in me, and I can find the king in you. You know what I mean? But just like celebrating what you want to see more of in people in general.
And then you're living in that energy, and that's what you're expecting from men, instead of expecting the horrible experiences.
Exactly.
Instead of expecting like, oh, men, like, I can't, when women say that. And I was that woman before.
Right. Yeah.
And so like, now I'm like, no, And we all have our human, and I love the idea of sometimes the human gets in the way, and it doesn't matter, like, if there's potential. If, you know, I love, my therapist is all about no bad parts and, like, parts work. So I love that. I love the idea of, like, we have no bad parts. We just have parts of us that we need to manage and, like, understand and, like, control. And sometimes, a lot of times, there's parts of people that they can't manage and they can't control, and we can't change that. We can choose if we can be with that or not.
Yeah, and it's just like, then sometimes, like, trying to manage or, like, handle those parts, it's like you're trying to handle parts of someone that they're not even trying to handle.
Yeah.
And so then you're just going against yourself, and, like, you're not honoring your parts in a sense.
Yeah.
And it's like, when you are, like, such, like, a light being and such, like, a lover, like, it's so, you want to be, like, a safe space and stuff, but it's like, at the same time, then you're not your own safe space, and then it's like, hello, that's opposite. It's literally oil and water. Like, it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I love crying.
Like, I'm such a baby. I'm like, nothing to see here.
I love it.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm trying to think of what else.
And just, like, lots of, I mean, these are all, like, I've been in so many women's groups over the past 5 years, and so many teachers, and, like, I mean, kundalini is huge in my life, but it's, we get to, like, be in community and, like, do all this together, and, like, when we share, it's really powerful, and
100%.
we can help one another. And
I think, like, the women, like, being together, like, that is what I'm, like, really experiencing right now. The women are moving in on me, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm, like, holding on for dear life, but, like, it's amazing because it's like we can see each other, and you don't have, like, the motive. Not saying that all men have motives, but it's easier to see through a different lens where it's like, there's no chance of us ever being life partners, but, like, I am your partner in life at the same time, because it's like we're community. So I think that that's really cool too, that you have such ties with, like, women's groups and things too, because it's not, my LLC is called Creative or Compete Enterprises, and I feel like it's so easy to compete with other women, or, like, women always think that that's what's happening, and it's like, no, like, if we fuck the competition, like, and we just get together and we start communing, like, we can we have an abundance of creation that we can just outwardly put, and, like, want each other to be bright and want to lift each other up, and, like, things like that.
Totally.
So, how did you find your women's groups?
So I am so lucky that I got to be a part of John Wineland's. He doesn't host women's groups anymore, but his embodied women's group for many years. I did it a couple years in a row, and they're women from all over the world. And it's just what I love about being a woman and being around other women is we get to teach each other. Like, I might see something in you that I really want or love, and you can show me.
Right.
Like, how do I get that?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's like me and my neighbor downstairs when you walked in, and she was like, I knew you were here for that. She was on the last episode, and
oh, cool.
Yeah, and it's like, and it's literally that. Like, it's like, she's like, you teach me things, and it's like, I'm not trying to teach you shit. I'm literally just telling you what happened today. And it's like, but she does it for me also. And it is cool. Like, it's amazing and like, there's the generations too. Like, that in LA, for me, I was always like the 25-year-old with, like, the 60-year-old women. And I would be like, oh, my best friend Jude, she's 65 years old. And it's, like, iconic, and just teaching me so much stuff with nothing but, like, go get it energy. Like, you got this. Like, everything that you think you are, you are. And it's, like, we're told so much to, like, tone it down and quiet. And it's, like, when you have the right women around you, they're like, no, roar, like,
and the
take up space. Yes, exactly. And it's, like, so powerful. So I think that that's cool. I don't think that a lot of women, like, seek it out sometimes, and I feel like it feels foreign sometimes. Like,
totally.
There's like a lot of girls that will be like, well, how did you meet her? Like, or how did you did it? I'm like, I tried.
Yeah.
Like, it just put a message out.
Yeah.
Like, it's so easy now too. Like, we live in this day and age where we have all of these like opportunities to connect.
Totally.
So I'm like, why does no one understand that we can connect right now? Because you could like go to a breathwork class, go to a kundalini yoga class. Like, you knew most of the women in there last night, right?
So I knew you. Yeah, one of them's my one-on-one client, and she's only done private with me. That was her first time. Yeah.
And everyone was giving it their all.
It was great.
Yeah. And it's like, it didn't matter. And then, like, I feel like.
Oh, and Rachel and Denise, I know them.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you're just like.
Everyone's very different, though, and that's what's awesome about coming into sacred spaces is all of the masks fall away.
Right.
They come off.
Right.
We're there in a sacred way, and it's about the intention. And also, that's the other piece of, like, having someone that is holding a clean, sacred, grounded container.
Right.
With intention.
Right.
And that provides the safety for people to really have an experience and take off the mask.
Right.
Like how you were saying, well, you danced, you did all your things.
I'm like, I don't know. I'm just gonna do what she told me to do.
Else did.
Yeah, and I could hear it and I could feel it at the same time. That's why I was like, I genuinely don't care right now.
And it's so brave and healing for you to do that too.
Right.
Because you're like, wow.
Yeah, like no one's looking at you.
No one.
Like they are if you want them. Like if you want to show someone, they'll look for you. But like no one's there to be like, what is she doing or what is she wearing or like no one cares.
In the first year of my women's group, it felt really scary and foreign to me. Like I didn't want to be seen. Like I don't know. And we were doing embodiment work and energetic work and movement, and I would always turn my Zoom screen off. A lot of it was virtual, and we would be doing embodiment practices, and I don't know, I was scared. I didn't want to be seen by the other women. And then, wow, I mean, that's totally shifted. Yeah. Like my relationship with a group of women is totally different now.
Right. Well, so, because you kind of started like probably right before COVID started.
Yeah.
So then you would kind of have to go through a lot of your training.
Yeah.
Secluded in a sense.
Yeah. Yeah. It was mostly, I think we might have started right like in 2020. And yeah, it was mostly virtual and we only got to be in person a couple times that year, which was really awesome. But, yeah, I'm actually doing a teacher training program.
Amazing.
With John Wineland.
Awesome.
For the next 3 years. And I fly to Portugal next week for the first immersion.
How long does that last?
So it will be for the next 3 years, but in Portugal, we'll be there. I think we're in practice for maybe 2 days, and then they open it to the public. There's going to be an intimacy workshop.
Amazing.
And so we'll be there for that. It's really
I just love how there's like
for me.
Right. Well, in what way do you feel?
Just every year that I've been in that space or done that work, like it's shifted things monumentally in my life. Like that year that I did the king practice and like I had a year that I worked on my no. I couldn't even say no. Like I was like people pleasy, codependent type of energy with men. And I had said the type of man I wanted to be with. And my teacher said, you couldn't handle that type of man if you wanted. You can't. And so the first time we were in person, it was in Mount Shasta. I remember that we had to do something like they call it sacred theater, but we had to do something in front of everyone for 2 minutes. I had to go around to all the male practitioners that they had there, very practiced men that he had as assistants there, and I had to say no and get in their faces. Oh my gosh, I was terrified. I was crying. Like, I mean, that's a lot to shift through. And I had, like, did a lot of work with my father that year and, like, writing a father letter. And that's a big deal. That's like karmic shifting work.
Yeah.
That's not like talk therapy. That's like moving it through my whole body, like retraining my body. Yeah, to love men so much. That was hard. It was hard for me to see the king in every man at first.
Right.
It really was.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, oh my gosh, someone will pump my gas for me or something. I'm like, oh my, I'm so praising the fuck out of him.
Right. And it's like, well, that is like the stuff that we like for free. Like, you can take my card and pump my gas, but can you just go and pump it? Like, but I have like certain guys, like I was telling you, like Reef is one of like my safe men in my life, because it's like they just show me that kind of stuff exists. And it's like they're not trying to have sex with me, and I'm just like, what's going on here? And it's like, that's literally it. And it's like, that exists, and it's so important to see. And it really is so important to like celebrate. I never heard of it explained like that in the king praising, basically, but like that's just so cool because it's
really cool.
It's a real thing.
Just every year it's been something totally different.
New.
And it's not just that we're doing like sexual polarity work or embodiment work and just moving energy through our bodies. We're really doing deep work.
Right.
Shadow work and all kinds of stuff. And I just know that I'm in this container of people. They're from all over the world. They're all in teacher training. I'm going to get called on all my shit.
Right.
And it's
You're
fucking
like,
scary.
Time's up. And you're like, all right,
Which
next
is
level.
Amazing.
Right.
Like, I'm so grateful and excited. And I know that it's going to be another fine tuning of me and all of it.
Yeah, that's so exciting.
Yeah.
And so you've been working with this guy for like 5 years then?
Maybe like in some form. And then I've done a lot of work with the women that co-led the programs with him and a lot of one-on-one work. And I just got to assist a women's immersion in Denver with 3 of those teachers.
Awesome.
And so that was such an honor.
And you met them through your women's group?
Yeah. They co-led with John teaching.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was like really beautiful. And we're going to do it again in April.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love too, I feel like in this space, like it is, like you already know April.
Totally.
Like I love that. And it's like, because it's like, that's how big the task at hand is at the same time. Do you know what I mean? Like,
totally.
You're like, all right. And it's like you have these things that are coming. It's like, I have to level up. It's already written. Yeah. It's on my calendar.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's like a claiming too.
Yeah. It's like, it's coming.
I love it.
And it just already is.
Yeah.
There's no backing up. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Last night I did, I like wrote, I haven't done this. Like I get what you're saying. Like when people are like, how do you, and it'll be like you being you, if that makes sense. Or like you being in your magic or your woo woo. Like, and they'll be like, how do you did it? And it's like, that's just, it is like, you know? So last night was like the first time in a while where I was like, okay, it's a new moon. Okay. I pulled my tarot cards. Okay. I journaled. Okay. I lit these intentions on fire to like give them out.
Yeah, and it's like ritual.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And that I feel like is so much more common on the West Coast. Like every new moon and every full moon, I was like with my girl Jude, who was like the 65-year-old lady. We would hike up into the mountains, sit under the moon, meditate, walk the labyrinth with no shoes on, like the whole thing. And I'm just like, oh, so important. Yeah. And it's like, the claiming is so important too. And just like my writing last night was like similar to like what you started with in this whole episode, just about like the writing the story about her, but it's you.
Yeah, totally.
So, okay, I'm going to have you drop your socials. Obviously, we're going to have to talk to you again after your Peru training.
Oh, Portugal.
Portugal.
Yeah,
Portugal. Okay.
Yes.
And we'll have to circle back the next time that you're in Philly. I'm just like, this exists. Okay.
Aww, thank you.
Yes, 1,000%. Thank you. Because I'm like, it's so important to see. And like, you shine so bright, but it's also important to shine light on you too, because I'm like, you deserve it, and it's like, I deserve to see that exist, and so does everybody else. Seriously, I know. We love her. Literally.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
Okay, so drop your handles so that anyone who's looking for you can find you. And then if you want to work with her, she has a lot of, it sounds like, things that are coming up potentially.
Yeah, and I'll be back in Philly in October.
Beautiful.
So if you want to book anything, and there will be Kundalini yoga classes again then.
Amazing.
Yeah.
We'll have to see if we can, like, the way that when Reagan was up from Miami and we did tarot, like,
That'd be fun.
I love, like, my thing right now is, like, in using this space.
Yeah.
Because it's so, like,
I love it.
Plants and things. No, you're fine. You've literally been on go. She was, like, putting up installations at IKEA this morning. Like, no big deal. All right, so drop your handles for them.
It's Amberella XO or Kundalini Yogi, but Amberella XO has it all on Instagram. And I have a link tree, so you'll see everything.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
And then anything else that you want to share before we go?
No, I'm just so grateful that I got to be here.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, it's fun to talk about magic and being a woman and sharing light and art and creating, and so I'm just happy to connect you.
I would love to. I know. I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like freaking out. All right. Thank you for spending time with us. This episode was brought to you by Fairy Garden Mindset and Reefs Imaginarium, our sponsors. Okay. And then if you are looking for any production stuff, he's tagged in all of our posts. And that's all I got. Zeus is popping his shit for you guys. See you next time.